So she just dropped Christiana. I can't say any words right now. She just dropped Christiana. I give up. She dropped that girl that we skate with sometimes over the airport, and I'm picking up Nick tonight at the airport, so a bunch of Nick footage coming soon. But we're here, Westchester Skate Park, basically talking about like the longest grinds ever done, doing the longest grinds ever done. I want to do a little explanation on how long grinds actually work, because I feel like it's not as skill-based as people think. I think you get to a certain level of skill, and then you can just hold it as long as you want. It's just a matter of finding the right place for it. So there's like a geographical privilege to doing like the world's longest grind. Like the person who does the world's longest grind 1000% will definitely not be the best skater at doing long grinds. So basically what I think the number one thing that you need to understand is knowing how to slow down your grinds. So doing long grinds or long slides, you have to understand where your brakes are. So if you're doing a long 50-50, frontside or backside, or on a rail actually, the harder you dig into your cross lock, you can pinch this wheel against this board, and that will slow you down. So you're gonna see in a lot of the 50-50s that I did. So in this video, I do a really, really long 50-50. We already filmed it. That'll be later in the video. You're gonna see like almost using this like brake technique to slow down so you don't pick up too much speed. So once you pick up too much speed, it starts becoming harder, and we wanna avoid that at all costs. And I think just about everyone is using this in the video. And as far as board slides, you'll notice a lot of people when they do long board slides to slow down, they'll like do this a little bit. Like here's your brake. Dragging the inside of this will slow you down. So like when I did that kickflip front board down that long downhill famous curve spot that everyone skated, I intentionally planned where I was going to drag my base plates. It was actually scary on that though, because there's big cracks on the side, to where if you drug your base plate over the crack, it would stop you. So I had to kind of really, that was a little bit more skill based than I think people realize. But we're just gonna do some long 50-50s. You're gonna see what I'm talking about, and then you're gonna see a really long 50-50 later in the video, and then yeah, but we'll just get into it. So first, I'll just 50-50 this ledge. I should be waxed. I haven't really skated too much today. I was doing frontside. So frontside 50-50 on ledges is by far the harder of the two to hold, because when you cross lock to slow down, you kind of go slightly backwards, like your back leg goes that way. And a lot of people, that's uncomfortable. I always tell people to embrace reverse cross lock. It makes it way easier to sit on. I'll try to hold heel side. I probably won't be able to. I automatically slip into cross lock. But like, the comfort of that. Like if that ledge would have gone for another 100 feet and slightly downhill, I would have gone. Let me show you some braking. I'm gonna 50-50, and then halfway through, I'm gonna intentionally slow down the grind. I wanted to pull my truck off, but you see, like once you make that wheel start to pinch a little bit, it slows you the hell down. Now the longest 50-50, if I had to guess, that's ever gonna get done on a ledge will probably be backside, because you're opening your shoulders up on the grind. It's way easier to control your legs bending this way than backside. It's sort of fighting that. I'll do a long back 50-50 on the curve ledge. Dude, I was falling that whole time.
Yeah, you got into it kind of gross too.
I got into it terrible.
Yeah.
You just commit. It's easier to stand up over them. Like I feel like front 50-50s, I'm constantly like away from the ledge, over the ledge, away from the ledge, and you just do that back and forth to keep the balance. Back 50-50, I feel like you can just stand directly up over the corner of the grind. Usually backside's way easier to maneuver. But yeah, I think backside, when you switch to the cross lock too, it's not as blind. Like I feel like there's a little bit less friction going backside. I don't know why that is. Maybe because of your weight's over your heels. With frontside, I feel like it constantly wants to like spit me out into a front board. Backside, I feel like even when you pinch to the farthest point, it doesn't want you to slip out. Keep all that stuff in mind when you're watching all of the grinds we're gonna be doing and watching today. So as far as the longest round rail grind, I'm not sure. I'm gonna try to find it tonight. I don't know who did it, but it's definitely someone who's gonna cross lock. So to explain, oh yeah, here. So to explain that, I think if someone wants to do a really, really, really long distance 50-50, if it's a flat bar, the longest one's gonna be heel side, because there's less friction heel side. But if there's one that's slightly downhill, you're definitely gonna use cross lock. Just like this balance like this, to me, that it's just hard to stand on that when you start grinding slow. That was awful. I felt like I was falling out the whole time. But I do think, especially with frontside, you have to almost ollie over like you're leaning into a Smith grind. So you want your body weight slowly out here. That's what's good about back 50/50s, is when you get into them, you're kind of already lined up to have your body weight right. I'm not really a big back 50/50er, but it just, I think it puts you on the right side of the rail to pull it a long one. I'll look for some long 50/50s on round bars. I don't know if I have any floating around. Like I have some that are probably like 2.5 times longer than this, but nothing like worth digging up. Oh, and then if you're going for the world's longest 50/50 on a rail, I hate square, but it's probably gonna be on square. Probably something a little wider than this. You'll probably end up heel side, but ideally you want a rail just shy of your truck length. You'll also notice in this video, there's some double sider 50/50s. So if I had 9-inch trucks, these are 875. Your standard curb would lock in like a square rail, and you could just stand. Like there's no, if this was 1,000 feet long and my trucks were a 1/4 inch wider, there would be negative skill involved. Like my mom could literally just stand on the board and just go. So those, I don't disqualify. We're gonna look at some of those, but to me, even less skill involved. That would actually probably be the world's longest grind, like a round rail that's the exact width of your trucks, or I mean a square rail that's the exact width of your trucks, slightly downhill. I mean, yeah, your parents could do that grind. Okay, this might absolutely turn into nothing, but this is a really long downhill curve that has a big chunk out of it. It's painted red, but I think it's like not the good red paint. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. I'm gonna grab my board, I'm gonna do one swipe of wax on it, and then maybe try to 50/50 as much of it as I can. All right, so I have I'm just gonna swipe one time. It's like super long. I think my arm's gonna get tired. But I'll be able to find out actually right in the very beginning whether it's gonna grind or whether it's the good wet or the good kind of paint. The other issue is there's like, probably down on the last fourth of it, there's a huge chunk out of it. So it'd be funny if I do all this build up and then it just doesn't grind at all. Like it just doesn't work. But this is the curve, it's long. The only reason I think it isn't gonna work is because it's not grinding.
Well, I don't know. That might go.
But look at this chunk right here. See this one? If I can get through this, I could probably do it. Well, I gotta get to it first.
Yeah.
Yeah, this would be a fun 50/50. We're just gonna try it.
Okay. Go for it.
But half the battle is getting up there.
Creeping. Hey, at least you made it to the wax. Yeah.
That damn chunk.
Damn.
Because I got startled because it was cracked. I gotta dig my toes in to slow the grind down. because I stupidly waxed the middle, and now I start like kind of cooking.
No. Yeah. No.
Okay, so this is me finding all of the longest grinds and slides I could. There's a couple honorable mentions. There's also some that I couldn't find. Like I think an honorable mention would be Rob Deirdrick did like one specifically for the Fantasy Factory show or whatever. We did like, I want to say it was a 200-foot long board slide in 50-50, but the rail was like the width of his trucks and it was a wider square rail for board slide. It's also like pretty much half of what most of the ones we're about to watch are. But it was like the official Guinness Book World Record. I don't know what the official Guinness Book World Record is now. And then there's also, well, we'll get to it because there's other grinds on this spot as well. So this is Andy Anderson's longest 50-50 on a round rail. Maybe his longest grind. He called it his longest grind. I have a whole video where this whole session takes place, so you see all of his tries too. I don't remember what I called it. It might not even be, I don't even know if he's in the thumbnail. I think it's a bev up video, but this just happens to happen in it because they were skating together. It was a really rad session. Just type in Andy Anderson and bev up and you'll get a really fun video. But he told me that was the longest grind at the time. This one, so this is a spot I really want to go to. It's a ride on grind. This is the first guy who I saw do it, so I don't know if this guy is the one who put the work and effort into lacquering it and everything, but whoever set this one up, you are a true dedicated skateboarder because this thing is crazy long. I want to go. I don't really know why I'd want to go besides like just to do it. Like I feel like a couple of different variations have been done on it since then. I mean just frontside and backside, and then the other trick that he's about to do on it in a second. And then there was one trick that I was looking for. So someone else 50-50'd this, and they like put a flat bar before it, and they 50-50'd the flat bar, and then got into the ride on grind. This is switch, by the way. What you're seeing right now, this is a switchback 50-50 by the same guy. And then so 50-50 the flat bar, landed on the ledge, grinded the whole ledge, and someone skated past him with the same flat bar that he got on the ledge with. And then they put it at the end of the ledge, and then he does a 50-50 on it at the end. I thought that was kind of funny. So if you notice on the front side one, he was like leaning really low and he was like touching the grass to slow down. And it seemed like way more of a struggle. This is switch, and look how much more secure he is in this grind. Backside is a more cozy lock in. Also notice how he's kind of fighting going toe side. Like he's trying to keep the cross lock, because with cross lock I feel like you have more flexibility with adjusting your speed. And it also gives you a little bit more like width for your upper body, in my opinion. Front 50-50 would definitely be easier than switchback 50-50, but you can see that he was like really locked in for it. This is probably, for all my fellow millennials and some Gen Xers, the longest 50-50 you think of. This is Matt Beach. And there's a long lens angle of this 50-50 from, it's in the Firm video. I think it's called the Can't Stop the Firm. And I remember thinking it was the most incredible thing. As an adult and someone who's done a lot of 50-50s now, I can see that this rail is pretty much the width of his trucks. So this one right here is probably the easiest 50-50 in this entire list. But it might be, I don't think it's the longest. The last one I think is the longest. And if you've seen a longer one, let me know. But I know that this is the one that's going to come to mind for a bunch of us. I do want to go, it's in Portland somewhere, I guess. I just think it'd be funny to, I don't know, maybe try it switch, maybe try it hang 10 because it's a ride-on grind. I'm sure it skates out by now though, because I haven't seen footage of anyone else doing that grind. And it looks like it wouldn't put up that much of a fight. This one, this is the curb spot that Ace and me skated in one of my videos. He got on a little bit lower than we did. So this curb actually goes like all the way up to the top of the hill. The reason that people don't start at the very top though is there's a lot of chunks out of it because it's like a restaurant right there and I guess people keep running over the curb and you can't really grind through it. But his trucks are clearly 9 inches because he's 50-50ing it on both sides of the truck. So you can see that he's like locked in like a square rail. So a little bit more friction, the grind's a little bit slower, a little bit more sturdy of a lock in. To put in perspective though, I threw this in here. That is a 506 foot grind. And then the red curb that Ace and me skate from the top, I think it's like 575 feet. So he's on it for like 5 seconds going into miles per hour. You'll see when Ace and me skate it, we're sitting on it for a very long time. Ace gave me the pin to this one because I wanted to do it frontside. But the one that I did in today's video, the one that I already showed you, I feel like, no, this one looks like it could be longer. You can go faster at this one, which makes it seem like it'd be a lot funner. You don't have to like worry about traffic at the bottom or anything like that. Having that wall there made it weird. This 50-50 is probably not as long as the other one, but it's my favorite one that Andy's done so far. Actually, that green zigzag one with the back 3 out's my favorite one he's ever done, but this was just crazy. We just got done skating a park all day, and then as we were leaving, he just like stopped and jumped on this rail for no reason when we were in New York City. This is why it's cool though. This little doesn't do it as much justice as it is. That rail's terrible. He was trying to think of a way to get into the 50-50, but the run-up was really terrible, and we didn't have any wood, but if he had the chance, he would have definitely 50-50'd that from flat. So this guy, this is Mike Patterson, I think is his name. He's the one who frontside dark slid that 8-stair handrail and put his feet between the trucks. He destroys these rails. I don't know where he is. It's somewhere in Europe, I'm assuming. But this is just like a super long, close to board slide width rail. What I do like about this is one of the longer board slides I've seen done without deck rails. I don't even think you could do it with deck rails because you can see he's kind of hopping over these like, I don't know, like nuts that are probably sticking out of the top to connect the different bars to each other. And like if I did it with deck rails, they'd catch me and kill me. I'd have to bond to each one, but that thing does look really cool. I wanted to say that I saw footage of him front boarding the whole thing, but I couldn't find it. But I found this stuff. Like I guess there's a bunch of those rails wherever that is, and he goes to town on them. Like this one, like if you get into the Switch 270 front board, you just sit there. You're just front boarding for a while until you decide to come out. And the fact that it has the rollover just looks like it'd be really fun to do 50-50 tricks. Wherever that spot is, I'm sure someone who's going to watch this video is going to know where that spot is. Send me a link. This is crazy. That is an extremely tall backside lip slide. That's probably my favorite trick that he does on any of these rails. Though the no slide nollie flip was pretty cool. What's the other one that he does? So here, it's a different angle of the board. He actually kind of does this one like a lip slide actually. But you can see like how wide the rail is a little bit better from this one and how like secure he is in this board slide. I think without deck rails, if he didn't already do it, I think I could get front board like a real try. I feel like I could front board that. It's one of the few things that I would say I'm decent at skateboarding. Like one of the things that I'm good at is holding long front boards. And that thing just looks like it'd be so forgiving. I wonder if anyone's even 50-50 that. I wonder what's up with those like little railroad ties or whatever those nuts are that he's, like I wonder if it would mess with grinds. What is the other one that he does? Here's another trick on the low one rail. I'm like watching a screen recording, so I'm like, click faster. Oh, it's this one. It's the full cab front board. Also just a full cab that high. That thing just looks uncomfortably tall. Pretty cool stuff. So here is Ace's 50-50. As far as I know, look how far up he did it. Like if you look at the background from where the other guy got on, who had the wider trucks, it wasn't there. And what was funny was, so when Ace and me were skating this, we kept moving further and further back. So like we still weren't landing it, but every time we didn't land it, we'd make it a little bit longer. It just got to the point where there's a chunk you couldn't go any further past. I also like that there's the grass right there that he grinds over it. We didn't bother like digging out. I do think that this is distance-wise, because he's cruising. I don't know if you can tell, but you grind and slide down this thing really fast. I think that's the longest one. And I was board sliding it that day, and yeah, I'd hit the fence, and I was like stoked every time I hit the fence. And this is like the one that Ace and me we weren't battling, but like every single time he would try to board slide it, I'd go a little further back, then he'd go a little further back, and he thought it was pretty funny. He did it before me. I don't know. I'd have to rewatch the video. So that video is also, I think I call it like the longest grind or something. That slam really hurt. And then so I ended up just doing half cab board slide like a little bit further back than I was doing board slide. But as far as I know, Ace is the first person to land anything on this thing. So he was the first one to do board slide, and he was the first one to do 50-50. Half cabbing the board slide didn't add anything. The reason I kept skating it and got another board slide though was because of the background. Like I think it's just kind of pretty. And then yeah, Ace's board slide is also in that full length video. And I want to say Ace said he wanted to go back for something. I do think this might be, I don't know. I think I could switch back to 50-50 the whole thing. And I think front 50-50 would be pretty cool too with 875 trucks, like a cross-lock the other way. Because yeah, you saw Ace, he fully cross-locked his 50-50. It was not a double-sider thing. His front truck would kind of go to the other side. Like it's almost like he cross-locked it like a round bar. It was pretty wild. But yeah, if you have any longer grinds that you can think of, or ones that I should have mentioned, comment down below. There's probably some I haven't seen. Or if you find the 50-50 on the rail to the ledge and then they run past them and go to the other 50-50, send that to me as well. You can DM it if you'd like on Instagram. But yeah, those are the longest grinds that come to mind. Pretty cool stuff. If you have a ledge, let me just say this though. If you have a ledge that's in California that's longer than these and you want to send me pictures of it, if you think it could be clear coated and lacquered and all that stuff and grind it down, let me know. Because I do want to do, I really am curious to see how far I could actually 50-50, because I do think it is a matter of who finds the right spot for it. Yeah, that's the end of the video. Kind of switching up the content a bit right now, having a little bit of talking head stuff with some skateboarding stuff. I just don't want to sit down and just do an entire talking head video. I prefer to go skate with my friends and have that be a part of it. And I know there's a large part of my particular audience that also prefers that. So I think kind of the mixing of the two medias is, it's been pretty easy and it works. It's fun. Let me know if you have any qualms with it, but it seems like it's been a pretty positive reception. So I'm gonna go to bed. Nick's sleeping in the living room. He's gonna be with me for a few days, so goodbye.